realized it was 3 o'clock already. I'm gonna start late. Okay, we got people coming in. Thank you for joining. We'll wait a few minutes. I was late getting it open to see who all attends. It is useful if you can type your location in the chat box. That gives us an understanding of where people are located for the webinar. You know, it's not going to be recorded that you said it, just so we got somebody from San Jose, California. We don't get a lot from California, so it's nice to see you. Anybody else? Anybody from Pennsylvania or Kentucky or Fort Collins, Colorado, Minnesota, Sleepy Eye, been there. Yeah, we got some from Pennsylvania. Anyone from Oregon? We have occasionally got people from Oregon. West Virginia, Fort Collins, Colorado, get 2 of you. So anyone from the East Coast? West Coast, yeah, come on, Washington. Nobody from Connecticut or Vermont or New Jersey, New York, New England, up there. We usually get 1 or 2 from there. We also sometimes get people from all over the world. So I haven't seen anybody say that they are from outside the US. Oh, we got one from Canada. So we have had them from India, from Africa, you know, Great Britain sometimes. So we do get quite a few. Oh, New York, we do have an Eastern Shore person. Okay, I'm going to get started because even though we're like 3 minutes late, but don't worry about it. My name is Dr. Jackie Jacob, and I am the coordinator. Well, I'm actually a poultry extension agent, extension specialist at the University of Kentucky. And as part of my job, I coordinate the monthly meetings or webinars for the National Extension Service, Small and Backyard Flocks Community of Practice. If you don't know, there is a National Extension Service with states having agents in the counties to help people with their issues, whether it be agriculture or family consumer sciences or whatever. So we help support that with small and backyard flocks. We have a website. We have these monthly presentations, and we have articles online. We have a Facebook page. So if you're looking to get involved and see what's coming up, that's always a good thing to do. So today's speaker is on a topic that I get a lot of questions about. It's basically poopology, the Poopology 101. And it is Dr. Jennifer Timmons from University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, who will be giving us the presentations. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type it in the chat box or the Q&A box. If it's relevant to what she's saying at that time, a clarification of something she just said, I will interrupt her to get the clarification. Otherwise, all the questions will be left to the end. But if you're like me, if you don't write it down, you don't remember your question when it comes time to ask questions. So feel free to do so. I will be on mute and with no video to get, reduce the broadband while Jennifer gives her presentation. So all yours, Jennifer.
All right, thank you, Jackie. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully. So everybody see the screen okay?
Yes, it's in presentation mode, so perfect.
Okay, great. All right, so as Dr. Jacobs mentioned, I'm Jennifer Timmons at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and I get to talk to you, everyone this afternoon about poop. So who doesn't love to talk about poop? You can learn a lot. I tell everybody you can learn a lot just by looking at the droppings of the bird. So I appreciate everyone joining us for this fun topic. So all right, there we go. So a lot of times when we're raising our birds, we do focus on the nutritional needs of the birds, understanding what the birds need for them to be healthy, making sure that they're getting the appropriate amount of protein in the diet, right around vitamins and minerals, their essential amino acids. But so this is all going to ultimately their diet is going to affect their health and performance. We can learn a lot from what comes out of the back end of the bird at the end of that nutritional cycle. So I thought I would just kind of back up just to give an understanding of the digestive process. So to understand the nutritional cycle, we'll take a quick look at the digestive system of the bird, and then we'll get into the fun aspect of poop. So as far as chickens tend to eat, they're going to eat just small meals throughout the day. They're snackers. They have food available to them all the time. They don't eat one large meal. They're just going to have several meals at a time. So they're going to grasp their food with their beak. They're going to swallow that food, and it's going to enter the esophagus. And the esophagus is just that tube that connects the mouth to ultimately to the proventriculus. So we have the esophagus, and there is a pouch along the esophagus that is called the crop, and that stores the food for the bird. Typically, avians, birds are different than mammals. Mammal's stomach is going to expand to hold their food. The avian's stomach does not expand, so they have a crop to store their food until they have room in their stomach. And I say it's a stomach, but the food moves from the crop, and eventually it's going to move into the proventriculus. That is considered the glandular portion. That's where the hydrochloric acid is secreted in the gut. That is where your digestion is going to start taking place, breaking down that food into smaller particle sizes. So that is your proventriculus. The digesta is actually going to move back and forth from the proventriculus and into the gizzard. So that gizzard is just that, again, it's that muscular organ. Again, it helps to break down that food into smaller particle sizes. The digest is going to kind of move back and forth between the proventriculus and the gizzard. And once that food is in a small enough particle size, it's going to move in to our small intestines, where those nutrients are going to be absorbed across the intestinal wall into the bloodstream, and they're going to distribute those nutrients throughout the body. And at the end of the digestive system, we do have our two cecal pouches. These are two terminal pouches at the end of the digestive tract. That's where you're going to get some anaerobic fermentation of carbohydrates that occur in your cecal pouches. And ultimately, whatever is not utilized in the bird is that digesta is going to be excreted into the cloaca. So it's always good just to routinely monitor your bird's droppings. Just looking, you may not know what is good, you may not know what is bad, so to speak, but if you are routinely looking at your bird's droppings, you'll know what a healthy dropping looks like versus a bad dropping. So just routinely monitoring those droppings is going to give you a good idea and just keep you in line to see, okay, what's going on with my birds if something changes. So we're going to take a look at some good poop versus some bad poop. So what is healthy fecal dropping? What does a healthy fecal dropping look like? It's going to be like dark brown to a tan in color. It should be solid with little to very little liquidy appearance. And it will contain your white uric acid crystals on the top of that brown dropping. That's going to your uric acid cap, your white cap. So your uric acid, what that is basically any of the excess protein in the bird's diet, so which is ultimately going to be nitrogen. Any excess protein that isn't utilized is going to be excreted in the bird as this uric acid. So that's what that white cap on top of those droppings is going to look like. So, and we also have our cecal droppings. So the cecal droppings are going to look different than just from the normal dropping. They have this pastier, a little bit pastier appearance. They can be light to dark brown in color. And the ceca is going to be emptied about 2 to 3 times a day. So it's not going to, you'll see that from time to time on the ground when the birds empty their cecal pouch. So I want to warn you, there's quite a few pictures of some poop in this webinar. So there's several pictures of some healthy fecal droppings that I was able to catch. So these are in chickens. These are in a baby chick, 2-day-old bird. And you can see it's that solid, nice solid dropping, and he's got that white cap on top of the dropping. And my intent was to kind of get a progression as the birds get older to kind of see the droppings. So this was a dropping from a 13-day-old chick. Again, nice solid dropping. You see some of the white uric acid on top of the dropping as well. Again, I don't see any issues with that dropping. Looks like a very nice, decent dropping. So this is from a dropping from a chick that is 20 days of age. Again, it's firm dropping. You see that nice white uric acid cap. I can see, to me, it looks like we have a little bit of maybe a tiny bit of feed passage that is starting to occur. So that right now it's not a huge issue, but it may be just kind of give you a signal, okay, maybe what's going on with the birds. We could be getting into an issue like a coccidiosis issue, for example, that may be causing the feed passage, or it could just be a feed issue in general. But just give me an idea. Okay, I need to keep an eye and keep an eye on the birds. So this is just a normal dropping on, and then on the right side, this tried to catch some of the fecal dropping. This is from a 20-day-old chick as well. Again, it's more of a darker appearance, more of a pastier appearance, but that's what that's a good cecal dropping as well. And this is again a drop. This is from an older bird, a 6-week-old bird. Again, this is a decent looking dropping, nice solid dropping. It's not loose. You don't see much liquid appearance in that dropping. And you can see some of the uric acid as well. This is from a different farm, but this is also, the birds were 6 weeks of age. Again, it's a firm dropping, starting a little, but I can see again a little specks of feed passage going on. Again, it's not huge excessive in this picture. I would say this might start the right side, maybe start being an excessive feed passage. So again, we may be having issues with feed. We could have some other intestinal issues that we need to start looking into. And I got a couple of pictures from some older birds with their cecal droppings as well. Again, here's a nice good cecal dropping. It's a little bit lighter tan in color. And of course, on the left side and on the right side, you have that darker cecal dropping. Both are normal. They can be dark or they can be a little bit lighter in color. And here's some other cecal droppings. The one probably on the left is probably wasn't fresh. It probably had sat there for a few minutes. So it's not quite as started to sink into the litter. But again, that's a good cecal dropping on as far as both of these pictures. Again, this is from a 6-week-old bird. So just wanted to kind of start out, okay, what is good? What is a good dropping? What does good poop look like? What do we need to start, what is normal, so to speak? So as you're routinely monitoring your bird's droppings. So what are some signs? Of course, we did talk about we saw some examples of some undigested feed and some of those droppings. But what are some other examples of some abnormal fecal droppings? Of course, if we see some blood in the droppings, some excessive undigested feed, and if the dropping is really loose and liquidy, that's also a sign that there may be something it may be an infectious process. We may not know. It could be from, a coccidiosis issue. It could be from a viral issue. Or some of these abnormal droppings could just be from the environmental standpoint. For example, the birds may be in a stress situation. They may be stressed, and it may have caused an upset digestive system. Or maybe you change the bird's diet and it caused an issue with their droppings. So not all abnormal droppings could be the fault of a disease or an infectious process. So we just need to keep that in mind. So I have quite a few pictures of some abnormal droppings I was able to get from a colleague. So this picture is it's an example of a non-infectious process. So this is just sloughing of the gut, basically from those birds being off of feed for an extended period of time. So it's got that orangish reddish appearing where the intestinal wall started to slough off. So you just see that sloughing. And you can see maybe a little some other, just more than the intestinal sloughing going on. Again, here's another picture where the birds have been off of feed for an extended period of time where it's been some sloughing. You can see there's the gas associated with this as well. Again, not anything to do with an infectious process, just an environment, birds may have been off of feed. So here's an example. This is from some bile stain feces. So where the birds have been off of feed for a really long time, and you start to see some bile being excreted without any digester. Really, it's just bile in the feed.
Somebody has a question. What conditions cause a bird to be off of feed?
Well, this was the picture that I showed previously was from a larger operation where there's an automatic feeder, and the feeder had, if a feeder breaks down and then the birds aren't able to get feed. So, or it could be, so that's, from a larger operation standpoint where they would be off of feed from just a mechanical thing that happened. Or, from a small flock situation, if you have some pecking order issues, maybe either you've got some birds that, not allowing the birds to get to the feeder, or if you don't have enough feeder space available, if you have too many birds in one pen, for example, and you don't have enough. This is like this bile example is bile stain. That's an excessive thing where the birds are off of feed. Or it could, this could be a disease situation as well, where the birds just aren't eating in general, and they're going to back off of feed.
It could also be missing water, right? Chickens won't eat if they don't have water.
Sure, yeah, yep. Feed consumption and water consumption are go hand in hand. Yep, yeah. So this is just a general picture of enteritis. So just some inflammation in the gut. It probably could be from a viral infection or from a bacterial infection. So it's just, you can tell that dropping is much looser. You can see it's much more liquidier. I don't know if that's, it's just more have a liquid appearance compared to those other pictures that I showed you of those nice, healthy, firm droppings. So this is oh gosh, sorry, this picture is a little bit blurry. This is where the intestines get, it's like a mucoid, it's like a mucus and watery consistency. This is due to a coccidiosis infection. So coccidiosis is typically going to infect younger birds, 10 weeks or younger. So it's coccidiosis is it's a protozoa that it lives in the gut and it infects the birds, and it can cause decreased efficiency of absorption of feed, and ultimately, if it's left unattended, it could cause death in the birds. But this is just going to see the mucoid and watery appearance from coccidiosis. Again, here's another the mucoid and watery appearance from a coccidiosis infection. Again, you can see some feed passage going on, where, of course, if the gut is not going to be absorbing those nutrients very well, so you're going to have some feed passage with this coccidiosis infection. And this is an example, an excessive example of some bloody feces. So this is from Myriatinella. So that is the species of coccidiosis that infects the back end. It's going to infect the cecal pouches. So you can get some bloody feces from coccidiosis, excessive if it goes unattended. So again, this is a sulfur yellow color and some bile in this feces, and this is from birds that had a blackhead disease, so histomonas. So, and again, that's a protozoa that infects the birds. So you can get this sulfur yellowish color. Histomonas blackhead is we mainly see it in turkeys. It's not as prominent in chickens. And I have a few pictures of some worm pictures that I was able to get off of backyard chickens. So a lot of times you won't see worms in the droppings unless the infection is excessive, and you'll start seeing worms in the droppings. So this is an example of a roundworm in the dropping. And this picture on the right is just from under the microscope, where you can see these are roundworm eggs. And again, found some pictures of some tapeworms. So of course, in this right picture, these are you could call them, these are the little tapeworm segments in the droppings. And again, most of the time you won't see the worm itself. You may see the little segments in the droppings with that tapeworm infection. So if you're monitoring your birds' droppings and you happen to you have some concern about the droppings, that they don't look like so if they have that nice, firm dropping with that white uric acid cap. It means they have basically what that indicates that they have a high functioning gut that's working well for them. But if you start seeing some loose droppings, you just may want to, of course, just general things, make sure that you're providing them with clean water. You could maybe add some electrolytes to the water just to encourage them to drink more. It may be a dietary issue. It may be the type of diet that you're feeding the bird. Maybe you change the diet, and so you may need to change feeds. There are some dietary additives. I mean, I'm just going to throw some examples out there, just to help promote gut health. Of course, I think a lot of the feeds now that you can purchase, they can have a probiotic in them. So a probiotic is just basically, it's like an army of good bacteria that you would add to the diet, and basically through competitive exclusion is going to outnumber your bad bacteria in the gut. And your prebiotics, so think of your probiotics just kind of like things like that we eat, like as yogurt, or they're full of probiotics, like your good bacteria. And your prebiotics, they're going to be a non-digestible carbohydrate that your bad bacteria can bind to, and then they will be excreted out of the bird. So it basically helps to eliminate any of the bad bacteria in the gut. So again, it's just promoting gut health. Can also, other options to promote gut health, we can, maybe add some organic acids or add some apple cider vinegar. Again, those are going to help adjust the pH in the gut, just to lower that pH and help promote gut health. And if you do happen to, of course, for the backyard flock, you might, as far as a worming program, there are worming medications out there. You may just want to routinely, deworm your flock just to keep it in check, or you just only worm them if you see that you're having a high number of worms in your flock. As far as, there are worming medications, just make sure that there's not a whole lot of available out there to treat, to deworm, so make sure you are using as label as well. And as far as coccidiosis control, again, you mainly are going to see coccidiosis in younger birds, because once your flock gets older, they're going to develop immunity to the cocci. So if you're thinking about getting new chicks, you can, if you have it, you're going to get new chicks, you can get them vaccinated for coccidiosis, so that it helps develop their immunity. Or you can also purchase feed that's going to have a coccidiostat in the feed to help control the coccidiosis outbreak. So just, of course, general management, this to promote just the general health of the bird, which is basically going to promote gut health. Ensure, of course, your housing and your equipment are clean. You don't have an excessive amount of moisture in where the birds are housed. Of course, if wet areas are going to promote coccidiosis, for example. Ventilation is going to help keep that area nice and dry and prevent moisture buildup as well. Another thing, as far as just keeping the area dry, just managing the drinkers so they don't have excessive moisture getting where the birds are living. And if you do notice some birds that are getting sick, that don't look lethargic, and they are having, you see some droppings, and you happen to see it come from that bird, you may want to separate if you have any sick birds from your healthy birds, to prevent them from getting the rest of the flock sick. Or if you have any new birds, to make sure that you separate those new birds from the rest of your flock. I did add some resources that I found very helpful. They are Alltech has some pictures. They have two posters. One's called chicken fecal analysis poster and one is called poultry fecal analysis poster. There's not much difference in them, but they are very good as far as different pictures of fecal droppings and examples of what could be the cause of those droppings. And there's also a couple of good fact sheets out there as far as deworming your birds and how to control coccidiosis in your birds as well. So I just wanted to include those because especially those posters, I think would be very helpful if you have a concern, you can bring those up and look at those different pictures. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for their attention. Please, if you let me know if you have any questions. It was kind of just, I put random pictures just to kind of give several ideas, examples of what you might be seeing. So if anyone has any questions, do you like me to stop sharing, Jackie?
No, I would like you to back up
Sure. Which
to the one with the links.
Oh,
Some
the
of
links, sure.
The links one, yeah. I've been typing them in the chat box so that
yeah, these were very good posters as far as with the pictures, a lot of good images.
my the Alltech one is that they're if I put HTTP in front of it, will that get me there?
Yeah.
I'm going to try. See what happens. No, it doesn't.
Do you want me to try to bring it up? Is that what you want to do? Try to bring it up or no?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how they can get them. So
do you want me to click on the link?
Yes, please.
Let's see. Maybe.
It'll open up in a different window. Somebody said they found it by Googling it. So
okay.
That works. Oops. You do have a question. How do you know how many times your chicken poops in a day to tell if it's healthy?
Well, chickens are gonna poop whenever their digestive systems need, they're just gonna excrete it. So it's gonna depend on how much they're consuming. So but that I can't tell you. I know they're gonna empty their cecal pouches, 2 to 3 times a day. Chickens, that is a good question. How many times a day a healthy chicken poops? I think it's probably I think it's going to depend on, their diet and how efficient their diet is and how much they're using.
It will depend on what
Yeah.
kinds of birds.
Yeah. That I'm not sure. I would have to do some research on that one. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I got the links up for them. So
Okay.
You can shut it down if you want.
Let me stop. Okay.
Will bantam chickens poop as much as standard chickens?
My guess is yes. It's just going to be a smaller amount. The dropping just won't be as big.
Right. Heat stress will create watery fecal material. I assume that's a question or a statement. But with heat stress, they're going to drink more, so they're going to have watery.
Right. If they're drinking more, they're going to have more water to excrete. Or, if there's, a dietary issue, like where there's too much salt in their diet and they're drinking too much water, that's going to cause
Salt will do
water.
it.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if there's a big increase in your water intake, it's because the feed is incorrectly formulated and has too much salt. Is disease passed through the poop?
It can, yes. It depends on what it is, like coccidiosis. They have, of course, they're going to excrete the oocysts, and the birds eat the poop, and they're going to start the life cycle again. So yeah, yes, pretty much yes.
Yeah, of course, it depends on the disease, right? So,
Right, it's going to
but
depend on the disease, but
and parasites will pass through and
mhm,
get into the whole life cycle. And often people that are birds that recover for some diseases are shedders, and from which is why you should take care when bringing in new naive birds.
right. I see this question. I thought it, did you see it? There's,
When should you check the chicken's feces? Usually morning poop indicates best health condition. Other times stress may affect feces.
I don't, I don't know if there's a best time, but I would probably say if you're probably the morning, because that's when you're doing everything routinely in the morning. But I don't know if there's a best time, but I think if you're checking it, check it at the same time, you know, every time, no matter what you're when you're checking them is what my advice would be.
I would say that, if you're in the barn for something, feeding, watering, cleaning, collecting eggs, check your poop.
Just look down, and yeah, yeah. And I would just look at it and say, well, you know, that looks good. Or if you see a lot of poop with feed in it, well, okay, what's going on here? But you know, so
Yeah. So
you,
anytime you're in the coop is a good time to
yep,
check it.
anytime.
Is chicken poop all the same for every type of chicken?
Like, does it look the same? Is that the question, I guess?
I assume that is looking the same.
Yeah, yes, it's gonna look the same. It may differ maybe based on the diet that the bird is consuming, but it's going to look the same, yes.
What's going on when it gets stuck to the rear end and gets all clumpy?
Like in a chick, like in a baby chick, for
Or
example.
in an adult bird, sometimes that happens too. You get
Um,
all this pasting on the butt of chickens,
yeah,
adult chickens.
I'm gonna have to defer to you if you know anything,
Um,
Jackie.
a lot of it depends what's the diet. If you're
Yeah,
getting, a wheat-based or barley-based diet where you're getting more viscosity, it could stick
well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
if you don't add a enzyme to fight the viscosity. So
you gotta
it's
get that
very much related to the feed most of the
pasty.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I mean, if it's not a disease issue, 9 times out of 10, I think it's probably going to just be a feed. Most of the time, you look at your feed.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're getting a lot of them, I would say
Right,
check your feed,
right.
especially if it just started, you know,
Yep.
after a new bag of feed or something.
Yeah, may just be, yeah, a
It could
bad
be
bag
that.
or, yep.
I don't think a particular disease. Um, so she wants to know if all of them are getting the same feed, but only one bird gets the pasty butt adult.
Yeah, unless it's a disease issue and I am not from,
I don't know of
my
any disease that's
disclaimer
going to
is
make
I'm
just
not a
one.
veterinarian, so I can't, I don't want to tell you anything that's wrong. I would have to double check. I would have to find out.
A lot of it would depend on the bird. I mean, they may have a reproductive problem that's getting the flow coming out the vent, um, and not dropping like it should. So,
Right.
I mean, it could be a reproductive problem that has nothing to do with the digestive tract. Um, I know chicks can get stressed and get pasty butt. Again, it depends on what they're
Right.
eating too. So, any more questions? No. Oh, can poop show if the birds have salmonella?
I don't think so. No, I will say, I was looking through some of the pictures from the fecal, because of course I don't have every example of every disease from what poop looks like. But I don't think you're going to be able to tell it's salmonella just by looking at the poop.
Especially there are so many different types
Yeah.
of salmonella. Chances are it's there, different types of it. So you can't really say whether it does or doesn't have salmonella based on its poop.
Right. I mean,
Unless it's
a
making the bird
possibility, but
sick.
it could be something else. Yeah.
Unless it makes the bird sick, you're not going to see anything. So it could have, Salmonella enteritidis, which is a problem in egg layers. The birds look fine. The only time you get it is if you do environmental swabs
Right.
to see if it's there. So the color of the poop, it has nothing to do with whether or not they have salmonella. And I would assume all livestock, all reptiles, they all have salmonella. So just assume it's there when you're handling something and keeping your hands washed, and don't let kids put their thumbs in their mouths and that sort of thing. Just assume it's there. Because I think that even this year they had another outbreak of salmonella in backyard flock owners.
Okay.
It happens every year.
Yeah.
Vent gleat caused by a yeast infection can cause vent issues. That's true, right?
Yeah. What was the first part that you said?
Vent gleat.
Oh, okay.
It can have the pasting of the butt.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a yeast infection, and if you add an antibiotic, you make it worse.
Right.
So, type the answer. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much, Jennifer, Dr. Timmons, for doing the presentation. I think it was very informative, reminding people to look at their flock's fecal material every time you go into the farm, interact with them, so that you can keep an eye on what's normal and detect anything that becomes abnormal. So you're getting lots of thank yous. One even said they learned a lot. So this is being recorded. The recording should go up later this afternoon. It depends on how long the system takes to get it to me, because they're not always fast, because I don't have control of that. It goes through the IT people.
Well, thanks for inviting me. So I'm glad I got to share a little bit about poop.
I don't have a topic for October, so right now there will not be a webinar in October unless I can come up with something. November and December is Ann Fanatico, who works in sustainable agriculture. She does choice feeding, and she does black soldier fly larvae. So those two, one, I can't remember which one's which. I think she does the black soldier fly first, and then she does the choice feeding. So I think you'll find our November and December ones are very good. And if you have a topic you would like to see, in the new year, I'm already working on that. So I need topic ideas. So you can either email me or post it on Facebook or whatever. So thank you very much. I will end the seminar now, and I hope everybody has a good day.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.